All right, we're diving into a really core concept in Bitcoin today. And you know what? We're going to kick things off with a question that sounds an awful lot like the start of a bad joke.
So why did the Bitcoin miner go on a diet after the halving? Go on, take a guess. Got an idea? Let it roll around in your head for a second.
Because he heard his block rewards got cut in half, but all he got was half the pizza. Okay, I know it's a little cheesy, but believe it or not, if we unpack this punchline, we'll have the perfect key to understanding one of the most important events on the entire Bitcoin calendar, the halving.
Okay, so let's dig into this joke a little bit and figure out what's really going on. It all comes down to that one phrase, block rewards.
So a Bitcoin halving is basically this event that's hard-coded right into Bitcoin's DNA. It's a pre-programmed rule that automatically cuts the reward for mining new blocks of Bitcoin by 50%. And this isn't random. The whole point is to manage the supply of new coins, to control inflation by making new Bitcoin just a little bit harder to come by over time.
So really, it boils down to two key things. First, the reward that miners get for doing all that work to secure the network, it gets literally chopped in half. And second, this thing is on a schedule. It happens like clockwork, roughly every 4 years. It's this predictable, automatic adjustment that's happened several times already. And that brings us right back to our joke. See, it's the digital reward, the new Bitcoin being created, that gets smaller, not the miner's actual lunch. So yeah, maybe less of a digital pizza for the network, but the miner themselves, they can still go order a whole pie. But this all leads to a much bigger question. Why in the world would you build this into the system in the first place?
So let's get into that. Let's look at why this is so critical for the whole network. This is where we really get to see the economic genius that's baked right into Bitcoin's design.
This is where the brilliance of the whole thing really clicks. On one hand, you have this totally automated, super disciplined system with a fixed supply and these scheduled reward cuts. It's all designed to guarantee scarcity. And on the other hand, you've got us, human nature. We love a quick fix. We crave those immediate results. Bitcoin's halving is a direct challenge to that impulse. It forces everyone to take the long view.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. I mean, think about it. A crash diet almost never leads to long-term success, right? It's the same idea here. Miners can't just snap their fingers and get higher rewards. The system forces them to adapt, to get smarter, to become more efficient by finding cheaper energy or upgrading their tech. It's all about sustainable discipline, not shortcuts.
So if it forces this kind of adaptation, you can almost start to think of the halving less like a punishment and more like, like a mandatory workout for the entire network.
Exactly. Just imagine it's this tough workout that you have scheduled in your calendar. You know it's coming, you know it's going to be a challenge, but you're doing it for a reason. And let's be real, there's no denying the short-term pain, especially for the miners. I mean, can you imagine your income getting cut in half, just like that, overnight? That is the immediate reality they face. And for some, the less efficient miners with higher costs, it can mean they have to shut down their machines.
And this is the whole point. That short-term pain leads to long-term health for the network. It kind of weeds out the inefficiency, making the whole system more resilient and decentralized, because only the stronger, more efficient miners are left. Now, historically, and this is no guarantee of course, this supply shock has often come right before some major price growth. So for those who are in it for the long run, what's the game plan?
The advice from the longtime Bitcoiners is usually pretty simple. First, don't panic. This is a known, scheduled event. It's a feature, not a bug. Second, keep accumulating, or as they say, stacking sats, which just means buying small amounts of Bitcoin on a regular basis. And third, HODL. You've probably heard it. It's crypto speak for hold on for dear life, and it's all about trusting that the principle of scarcity is designed to pay off in the long run.
All right, to wrap things up, let's try to bring this whole concept home and make it a little more personal. We've talked a lot about digital scarcity, but what does scarcity actually feel like in our own day-to-day lives?
I want you to really think about this for a second. If your income was suddenly cut clean in half tomorrow, what's the very first non-essential, the first luxury item that you'd have to give up? Would it be that morning coffee, a few streaming subscriptions? It's a tough question, isn't it? But it really puts the economic pressure of the halving into a perspective that I think we can all understand.
So we'll end on this note. The Bitcoin halving is for sure a complex topic, but understanding it doesn't have to feel like homework. Sometimes a simple joke is the best way into a really big idea. Because in crypto, just like in life, a little bit of laughter can be the best return on investment.